Okay. Okay, it's recording. It's recording. So let me
Cool,
just
cool,
recap what
cool.
we just did, just for people watching the video. We looked at this and then we decided, okay, we have this big outside box that holds everything in. That's going to be our container div right here, this container div. And you see where it starts and ends? Because, and notice how it has 4 different divs inside of the container div. Because there's this red div, this div right here where my mouse is, this black div, and then this little silver gray looking div. And those are the 4 divs inside the main container div. So I just put those divs, I created those 4 divs and put it inside the container div. And I give each one of these divs an ID. Okay, cool. And this is my CSS reset. This is a general CSS reset. I mean, without the outline, this is the general CSS reset. I just have this outline here for debugging purposes, but actually I can comment it out for now. But this, we're gonna start our CSS off like this, okay? And here we go. So now this container div.
Sorry, Rob. How did you outdate that in Windows? I wasn't able to do that.
What do you mean?
How
The
did you
commenting
that? Yeah,
It's
commenting.
control slash.
Control slash.
Controls.
If you just click on the line you want to comment out, and then control slash.
Did it work?
Nope.
You know where the question mark is? It's connected with the question mark. That slash button.
Yes, it worked. Thank you.
Cool. That's a quick way to comment out the code so that you can still leave it there without having it being run. Okay. Awesome. So now let's think about what we want to do with our container div, right? We want to give it some type of background color because it has this background color. We want to give it this width of 970 pixels. So let's give it this width first. So to call the container div, it has an ID of the container. So I would do hashtag to represent, say I'm calling something with an ID of container. And let's give it the width of 970 pixels, okay? And stop me at any point if I'm going too fast or if you want me to explain what I just typed. But I'm doing my best to explain it as I'm typing, okay?
Cool.
Cool. So we have a width of 970 pixels, and let's give it a color. Let's give it a color, and what color should we give it? We can always right-click and click Inspect, and then use this little picker that you see this thing that I just clicked, this little thing. Right? If I click it, and let me go somewhere where I can see a color, like right here. I can see a color. And now, right here, I can see that color right here. And if I click on this color, I'll be able to use this color picker, and I can put it wherever I want to adjust the color. So I want to pick this color for my container div. So I'm going to click it, and now that gives me the hexadecimal value for that color. So colors have different values. Like you can give it the actual like word value, like blue, green, yellow, aquamarine, right? But those are kind of limited, right? Because those are limited by English words. So these actual hexadecimal values gives you like an exact color that you want. So you can always find, or you can also do the RGB thing, which combines the red, blue, and green into any colors that you want. I personally don't use the RGB too much. But I know people, there's lots of people that use it as well, but I prefer this. So let's give it a background color. And don't forget your semicolons. I saw some people forgetting their semicolons or some people doing this. When you do something like this, you notice how there's this red squiggly line. That means there's some type of syntax error with this. And then your CSS won't run as properly, okay? So I gave it a width, and then, okay, let's just see what happens there. Let's just see what it looks like. It's probably not gonna look all that great. Okay. Container. Well, so it looks like there's nothing there because I think someone's mic is.
You got noise going on in your mic background.
Yeah, so someone's background is a little bit noisy. So even though I set the width here, looks like it looks like nothing's here. That's because something with just the width and no height, you can't really see it, right? So let's give it some type of height for now. let's say 1,000 pixels. I still can't see it. Inspect, body, div, container. Well, I guess for now you can't see it unless I put some content inside of this div. So right now there's this empty divs inside of this container, so that's probably why we can't see it. So bear with me here. Let's also give the header some type of, let's design the header too. Okay, let's give the header some type of width and see if that's gonna end up showing some stuff. Okay, so right here, this header, it's this color. So I'm gonna give the header div, I'm gonna give it a width of, let's say, so if this container div is like 970, this header div is probably a little bit less than 970. Let's go with like, we can always go with some random number approximating it, and then we can adjust it later, okay? So let's go with like 940 or something. 940 pixels. Oh, you know what? I know why the styling's not showing. Silly me. Because I haven't linked my style sheet. The HTML has no idea about my style sheet. That's why. Okay, cool. Silly me, right? I was like, wait, hold up. This should be working. Let's just continue along until it works. Okay. It's because the style sheet's not linked. Okay. So this is a gotcha moment that I think has probably happened to most people here. And look, it happens to everybody. It happens to everybody. So link, and then I'm going to link my style sheet. And the name of my style sheet is JS Basics, capital D, emo.css. Okay. Okay, cool. So I commented this out just to confirm that this should still show up, because it should have shown up. All right, cool. Here we go. There we go. That makes more sense. Okay. And if I want to center, like let's say I want to center this box, this is one way to center the container. I can do margin 0 pixels auto. And what this does is this centers the div into the middle of the page, into the middle of its parent. And the container's parent is basically this body, which is the whole web, like this whole browser, like browser page right here.
Auto only works for left and right, right? Correct?
Auto, yeah. Auto adjusts it to horizontally centers it. Yep, you got it.
Okay.
That's right. So notice how it's now horizontally centered. So this looks a little better for us to work with. I don't know what this, do you guys see this weird blue dot right here? Where my mouse is? I don't know what that is. Is it just my computer? Is my computer screen broken?
No, I see it.
Oh, now I see it.
You see it? Yo, what is
Yeah.
that? Annotation clear. Yeah, that's, oh, okay, that's why, that's why. Okay, so let me erase. It's something from the annotating tool that I was using earlier. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Cool, okay. I was like, that was kind of bugging me, okay. Cool, so now I got this container div, and here we go. Now let's work with our header. So we said our header has a width of 940 pixels, background color. Well, let's figure out what the background color should be by going here. And then I still have my color picker toggled on. So background color should be this color. I'm gonna copy that hexadecimal value, put it here. Okay. And then let's give, okay, we have a width for it. Okay, let's just see what that looks like for now, okay? Okay, can't really see anything right now. It just has a width. Let's give it some type of height. Let's just do like 50 pixels. Okay, cool. Here it is. Okay. So we got this part right here, and then I'm gonna just leave it at this for now. I'm not gonna style it further. I'm gonna just get these boxes to kind of be in the general location. So this to me generally is good enough. Okay, I can always style the padding later. Let me get this box to show up. Let me get this box to show up, and let me get this box to show up, and then I'll adjust their locations, and then I'll add some content. Okay. And there's many ways to go about it. Like another time that I did this, I built out the whole HTML and then I started styling everything. Some other times it really depends on the assignment and, just what you're in the mood for sometimes. Okay, so here we go. We have this next div, which is the nav, and it's going to be this color. And let's just have it, yeah, this is this color. Cool. So for the nav, I'm calling this nav div. I'm gonna give it a width of, let's do like 200 pixels, just to approximate, and a height, let's just give it a height of like 50 pixels. It really doesn't matter. We're gonna adjust all this later. We're gonna change all this later, okay? We just want these boxes to show up. So at least we have these boxes in the general location. Heights, and then, yeah, background color. Okay, cool. All right, cool. I have this box here, cool. I'm gonna adjust it later, but right now it's right here. And then let me create this main div, which is gonna be this black box. And is it black exactly? Who knows, right? But it's this color. And then let's do main width. I guess the width would be, so if this was 970, this whole thing is 970, I would say this would probably be like, it's definitely more than half. It's probably about like 3/4 at least. So 3/4 of 970, probably like 700 something. 700 something, I would say. Let's do
There
700.
are formulas, right, to find the exact percentage. They're like formulas, right, where you can find the exact percentage of how much it takes up in the container.
Yeah, you can find the exact in some ways, but we're gonna estimate it a little bit right now for to start off with, okay? And then we're gonna get to the exact later. So because I don't want to dive too deep into all the details first. I just want to get the general boxes there,
Got it.
their colors, just so I have those boxes, and then I'm gonna style those boxes accordingly until they look like what I want it to look like. Okay. So we said like 700, 720 pixels. Okay. And then let's give it a height of like, 300 pixels for now. It's definitely not going to be 300 pixels of height, but for now, let's just have it show up like that. And background color. Okay, cool. Okay, we have this box here. We would want this nav box and this box to be inline block to each other, because as you can see here, they're inline block, right? They allow each other to be next to each other. So we can go ahead and adjust that right now. So we want the nav and the main to be inline block. Display inline block. Inline block. And then if I refresh, let me put this over here. No, wait, yeah, this is fine actually. Okay, cool. So, okay, they're generally kind of like, obviously the sizes are off, but they're generally in the right places, right? And then this advertisement div will be at the bottom. So I would want one more div for ad, and let's call it, and this is where I got the word ad from the ID. And let's give it a background color. Since we're doing width and height first, let's do width, and looks like the width of this would probably be the same as the width of this red one. So let's do something around that. So the red one's width is like 940. So let's do 940 for this one. Height, let's just do like 50 pixels for now. And then background color. Well, let's figure out what the background color should be. This color right here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, let's see if we got the general overall boxes that we need. Okay, cool. We got the boxes that we need. Now we gotta style these boxes in such a way that they'll be in the right place. And we wanna, but let's put some content into these boxes first, and then style these boxes so that they can fit the content. Okay, so I mean, I could do it several different ways. I could style the boxes so that they can be at the right place right now, in the exact right place. But when I put in content, then they might end up moving. So I'll put in the content first. Okay, so I'll build out the HTML now. So I built out the basic backbone first, and then of the main boxes that I'm using, and I styled them. And now in these boxes, I'm gonna fill it out with some information. So for the header, what's gonna be in the header? It looks like there's just something called, it just says JavaScript basics right here. Okay, JavaScript basics. So for the header, I'm gonna have, it looks like an H1, by the way, right? It looks kind of like big and bold.
Yeah.
So I would say an H1.
H1 looked too big when I did it, but maybe that's just me. I did it as an H2.
Okay. I could always style the font size of an H1 in the CSS as well. So I could turn an H1 into something that looks like an H2 or an H1.5.
Yeah.
So for now,
you could do H1, and then in CSS, could you do like font dash size and then put a number to it and then make it smaller?
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
Wow.
You can adjust the font size of any of your like H1s or paragraphs and stuff like that using CSS.
Cool.
Cool. So we have something, it says JavaScript basics here. And then right here, it looks like we have some list, right? Well, right here, it looks like a link. It's an ahref. It says home. So let's have an ahref, and it's inside the nav div, right? So let's have that inside the nav div. That's my shortcut to create an ahref, by the way. If you type in a:/link and then press tab, you get an ahref. And it's not gonna go anywhere, but it's gonna be a link. And then it's gonna say home though. Okay. Cool. Okay. And now let's say we want, what's the next thing we want? It's home. And then now it looks like a unordered list, right? It's an unordered list, and it says JavaScript overview as like the first list item. And then inside this unordered list, there's more unordered list items here. Okay. So this one's a little tricky, but first let's start off with UL. This lets us create an unordered list. And then LI would be the first bullet. The first bullet is JavaScript overview. And the first bullet is also a link though, right? So it's also gonna be an a:/link. And then I'm just gonna leave it empty. I'm just gonna say JavaScript overview, right? And then next, after this link is here, inside of this LI, I'm going to add some more unordered list, okay? That's the tricky part, because as you can see, in this unordered list, in this bullet, there's another unordered list, right? So I'm basically saying in this unordered list, in this bullet, right, the first bullet item is gonna contain another unordered list within it. And these bullets are variable declaration, variable assignment, data type, conditionals, loops, and function. Okay, so LI, it's gonna be and they're all links, so they're all gonna be ahrefs. And this is where copying and pasting will be helpful. So after I do one example, I'm gonna copy and paste. So the first one is gonna say variable declaration. variable declaration. And then I can repeat these bullets. 1, 2, 3. How many do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 4, 5, 6. Okay. And I'm just going to replace these with variable assignments. So I guess I can just do variable assignments, data type, conditionals, loop, function. Okay.
Wait, so why are we leaving the quotation marks empty?
Because when I click on the link, I mean, it's not required to go anywhere. I mean, I don't have to make it go to a website.
Oh, so that's where you'll put the link though, if we wanted to take you somewhere else.
Yeah, you'd have HTTP, something like that, right? And then you put in the website
Okay.
if you wanted to. But we don't need to do that though. We just need to be some link. It's not going to go anywhere when you click on it. But we're
Okay.
just working with HTML, CSS. Like we don't need it to go anywhere. Like the assignment doesn't tell us to make the link go anywhere. But if we wanted to, we could make it go somewhere. But you know that would just take some time. I could go like, okay, Java variable, JavaScript variable declaration. Okay. Boom. Okay, cool. I could have always done that, right? For variable declaration. Boom.
That's simple. You just copy and paste links.
Yeah.
That's okay.
If I really wanted to, but we're not really doing that though. We don't need to. Okay, it's not required. Does that make
Is that a
sense?
string technically? When they're empty, they're strings.
Yeah, it's the Ahrefs allows you to put in a string for a web address. And if you leave it empty, it's just not going to go anywhere when you click on it.
All right.
Does that make sense? Like this
Yes.
one is going to go to in a variable declaration. This one's going to go to W3 schools, right? But this one,
Mhm.
JavaScript overview, is not going to go anywhere. It's empty. Okay?
Got it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let me get rid of this. I just don't want it there. I don't need it to go anywhere. If I really, really, really wanted to, I could, but it's not part of the assignment. So variable assignment, data type, what else do we have? Conditionals, loops, functions. Data type. Conditionals, loops, functions, or function. Okay, I think that's all we had. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, okay, cool. I have an extra one here. I don't need this one. Okay, so that got me this part up to here, and then now we're back out of this unordered list into the parent unordered list with projects, assignment, and quiz. Okay, so we're outside of this unordered list, and now we're inside of this unordered list where we have projects, assignments, and quiz. Oops. Projects, assignments, quiz. Quiz. Okay, cool. Cool. So I filled out the content for that part, for the nav. So I have all the content here. And let's see what that looks like. It's not going to look pretty right now. Okay. And right now, it's kind of hard to read. Let's just make everything really light color. So if I want all the fonts in this to be, you know, a lighter color, I can just adjust it from the container. And what kind of color do I want? Let's see. Inspect. If I click right here, it'll give me some type of color. I click here, and then color picker. Let's go to this one. So in my container, I can say, hey, all the color of the text, this property allows me to put all the content of that's within the container and all of its children to have a certain color. Okay, because I don't want it to be hard to see right now. Okay, cool. At least this part is good, but these links are still kind of hard to see. But we'll adjust that later. Okay, cool. Or I could always say all of my links. So these are A tags. I can say all my A tags to be a certain color. What color do I want it to be? All my A tags. I want it to be like this color. Why is the color bigger still? Okay, cool. All my A tags. This basically, I'm basically saying all the A tags, right? These are A tags. So this selects all the A tags. I don't have to give it an ID or a class. Then again, there's many ways to do it. You can give it an ID in the class if you want. Color, adjust the text color of it. And I just gave it this color. So hopefully it's a little bit easier to see. I don't want it to be hard on the eyes, whatever. Okay, cool. This is a little bit better. And this looks kind of like the same colors that we need. Okay, cool. Now let's look at this content. The content is way too much for this div, right? It's going outside of this div. So the height of this div needs to fit the content. So if I just the height of this div is the nav. If I don't give it a height, it'll automatically adjust the div to fit all the content. Okay. Any questions so far? Nope. Okay. So if you don't specify the height of a div, it'll just the height of it will automatically adjust to the amount of content that it needs to fit. All right. So now we have, let's fill out some content for for this part. It's this looks like a H2, H3 maybe, right? And it says JavaScript basics, and then there's a bunch of text here. I have pre-written this text to prepare for this lecture, so I don't have to type it in front of you guys. Okay. So I'm gonna just copy and paste just some text there, but that's gonna be in the main div right here. In the main div, I'm gonna have an H, let's say it's gonna be an H2 that says JavaScript basics. Okay, we have an H2, and then it looks like we have a paragraph tag with this content, which I've already pre-typed out, so I don't have to type in front of you guys. I don't want to waste everyone's time typing. Cool. And this is just what it says on that. This is me. I just like manually typed this out. It's kind of annoying, but it's not that bad. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Starting to take some step forward towards making it look more like what we want it to look like. Okay, cool. And after this paragraph tag, what else does it have? It looks like there's gonna be an unordered list, right? So now there's gonna be an unordered list, and there's gonna be some stuff in there. Okay. So unordered list. UL, LI, and the first LI is gonna have a link that says variable declaration. Oops. It says, okay. Cool, variable declaration. And then the rest of the text right here, I've also pre-typed it out, so I don't have to type it in front of you guys. So I'm gonna just copy and paste it from my little notepad. Variable declaration, and then, okay, cool. Okay, cool. JavaScript variables are containers for storing data values. Cool. This looks good. One thing though, you see this part where it says var x? It's a slightly different color than the rest of the text here, right? Do you guys see that?
Yes.
Yes, cool. So if you want a portion of the text to be slightly different color, you can use a span tag. So it's an HTML tag that you can use called span that allows you to uniquely style a portion of text that, you know. So this is the tag. It's called span. And in the span tag, I have var x. Right, that's what it says. It says var x, right? Now I can decide to style the span tag the way I want. And if I want to style my span tags a certain way, I can call span. And then it's going to style all my span tags in a certain way. Because look at this. Do you see the commonalities between all these span tags? They're all the same color. It's like slightly purple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's do that. So all of our span is going to be the same color. Let me just go
So,
to. Yep.
so is it, so do you, when you do it on the CSS side, you put span and then you just put whatever words that you want to have the same color, or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but now let's say you have a bunch of some other spans that are different colors. Like let's say like the spans here are a different color than this. Then I could give the spans an ID, and then I could reference the ID.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So let's use this one. And as you can see, it's like, you know, it's really, you can pick some type of color and it's gonna approximate it. So span. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Okay, cool. Slightly, it's close enough, okay? It's close enough. Yeah, it's actually exactly the same, so it's good. So that looks good. So let's continue filling out our content. This color, okay, cool. So we have that li right there. We have another li that's gonna have, it's gonna have another link, something like one of these. It's gonna have another link with the ahref. Okay, because you see this link right here, variable assignment. Cool. Honestly, I could probably just copy this line like 4 times and just replace this part. But yeah, here we go. JavaScript variables. Yeah, let's just copy this right here. And then span. Okay, cool. Copy that because I don't really feel like typing out all this exactly. It doesn't have to be typed exactly with these words. You know, I could just, point is I have some words here that are white and then some span that's, you know, this color, and this paragraph, like the words are about this many characters long. So that'll give us an approximation. Okay, and for let's actually get the span to actually say var x equals to 10. Var x equals to 10. Because that's what it says right here. It says var x equals to 10. Okay, cool. And then data types, conditionals, loops, function. Okay, cool. I think I'm gonna just copy this several times. How many more do I need? It's 1, 2, 3. I need 3 more. 2, 3. And this is at least change what it says in the link though. So the first one was variable declaration. Second one is variable assignment. And third one, let me toggle this off. It's kind of annoying. Okay. Third one is data types, conditionals, loops, function. Data types, conditionals, loops, function. So data types. conditionals, loops. Wait a minute. Conditionals. Do I need one more? Data types, variable assignment, variable declaration, variable assignment, data types, conditionals, loops. Okay, cool. Let me do one more. Functions. Okay, cool. That looks good. That looks good enough. So we have all that content now. Okay, cool. We have all that content. And notice how this main content div is shorter than the rest of the content. That's because I specified a height for this main content div. If I don't specify a height for the main content div, then it's gonna allow, it's gonna expand, it's gonna grow to the size of the content to fit it. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. There we go. So we have all that. And then now the next part is the last part of our content that we need for our HTML. So we have the content here, content here, content here. This last part, we just need some content right here. For more useful information, check out this URL. I'm lazy, so I even have that text copied. I really didn't want to type too much in front of you guys, because that's not really gonna do much. So in this, actually, in this div, in this advertisement div, I have, it looks like a paragraph tag, right? I can put this in a paragraph tag. Okay, for more useful information, check out this URL, and the URL is gonna say JavaScript. Okay, so I'm gonna have a:/link. It's gonna say JavaScript. And all of my links are actually the same color, so it's gonna work out because I have designed all of my links, anchor tags. So these A tags, you can also call it anchor tags or A tags. They all have the same color. And for this assignment, that works out. So that kind of makes it a little bit convenient. So I can just do that. Okay, cool. Let's see what that looks like. All right, cool. We got all our content in here. Now, you see the height of this container div? It's way too big. That's because I specified a height. I don't need to specify. If I don't specify a height, it's gonna fit all the it's gonna fit towards the size of the content. So for the container div, let me get rid of the height now. But you see how initially I gave it some height just to kind of like get it up there, and then now I can readjust things. So none of this thing, like, it's not going to be permanent, all these changes that I'm making in the beginning. I'm going to be adjusting it accordingly until I get what I want, until I get the final product. So boom. Okay, cool. Now we can work with this. Now we can start styling this page, right? Now, a couple things we can do. The width of, so this, let's look at this. Let's start fixing it from the header and up, right? The header, there's a couple things. It has a rounded border, and it looks like it's centered inside of this div, inside of its container, right? Do you see that? This div is centered inside of its parent container.
Yeah.
So if we want to do that, we can do a couple ways. Well, first, and also notice that there's this padding all around. The container has padding on the inside right here that makes it respect the space, right? So let's create this padding first, because that's probably the most outermost thing that we can do. So the container is going to have some padding. And let's just guesstimate like 20 pixels. Okay, and the padding kind of makes it look like it's centered, so that's pretty cool. Now the width of this red div, this I don't need the width. I don't need this header to have a width anymore. Well, I think it's a little bit too small actually. I do want it to have a width, but I think it's a little bit too small. I could always inspect element right here. We'll click on the div, header, and the width. Let's make it bigger. Okay, width of about 960. 960 looks good. Actually, 950. I'm gonna go with 950. No, that's a little bit too small right now. Okay, let's go with 960. Yeah, with 960. Okay, cool. 960 width. Okay, 960 width. Yeah, I'm cool. I'm okay with 960 width for now. We can always adjust it later when we're looking at it, just to make, if we want to be like perfectionists. This is terrible if you have OCD. This can get really hectic if you have OCD. So I'm gonna try to like not get too OCD with it, and then I'm gonna make it look closer and closer to the final product, and incrementally make it look better. So we'll work at this for now. And it looks like, yeah, you have a rounded border. So let's also adjust the border radius of the header. Border radius, I'm gonna set it to around 10 pixels. Usually 10 pixels is what I start off with, and yeah, that looks pretty good actually. Yeah, that looks about right. Maybe 10 is a little bit too much. 10 might be too much. Yeah, 10, you know, like I could be OCD and be like 8. But yeah, you guys get the point, right? Okay, cool. That was a little bit better. And then let's see what happens here. This JavaScript basics, this H1, it looks like, well, it looks like there's some padding inside of the header that allows it to have space inside. So I could create this space inside between this JavaScript basics part and the border of this red box with, I could either do padding on the red div to adjust the space inside of the border, or I could do margin of the H1 here. Okay, so it's really up to me, and you know, everyone's code is going to be different. So I'm gonna just, since I'm working with header already, let me just do the padding. And let's just say like 10 pixels. Okay, that looks a little bit better. But now this box looks a little bit kind of big now. But it's okay, we'll adjust the box a little bit later. For now, we're just gonna approximate it. This looks a little bit better than what we had. So we're on the right track. And then now we can look at what's next. Let's go down. So this space right here, you see the space underneath this red box? What would you say that is? Would you say that's margin or padding?
Margin.
Margin, right? Because it's the space outside of the red box. So I could do margin of these two boxes, or I could do the margin, I could do margin top of the black and the blue box, or I could do margin bottom of the red box. So it's less code to do margin bottom of the red box. So I'm gonna just do, and since I'm already at the header, margin bottom, let's do 10 pixels. Let's just see if that's good enough. 10. Let's do a little more. I could be OCD. Let's get a little bit OCD here, and let's select the header div. I can select the header div, so I can get information about the header div here. Margin bottom. I'm gonna press the up arrow to gradually 14. Okay, I like to have like a cool, like a general number here, like 15. I don't want to put like 13 and a half, you know. I mean, I could if I wanted to, but for now, let's just keep it at 15. Yeah, 15 looks good. We'll go with 15. Margin bottom 15. Okay, cool. That looks good. And now, okay, so far we got this part done. Now I want this box and this box to be aligned at the top. Do you see how they're both at the top? They're aligned.
Yeah.
And here, this box is at the bottom and this box is at the top. So I want this box to come back to the top. I want it to be vertically aligned. Vertically means up and down, right? So it's aligned vertically. So I can do vertical align on, so the boxes that I'm concerned about is this navigation div and this black div, which is the main content div. So it's this navigation and the main div. So for my navigation div, let me do vertical align. Actually, let me do it on my main div. It really doesn't matter. You could do it on either one. But since my main div is just bigger, I just prefer to do it. It doesn't make a difference, by the way. It really doesn't. You can pick either one. Vertical align top. Okay, cool. That looks a little bit better. Okay, we're getting closer. We're getting closer to our finished goal. Now we have our container. We have our container kind of doing what it needs to do. We have our header that looks fine. With our background color, width, padding, header. I guess I don't need to give it a height anymore. It doesn't need to be this big. So if I just don't give it a height, let's see what happens. Because I gave it some padding, so that padding will automatically, and it already has a H1 here. So that H1 is going to take up some space. So now this looks a little bit better now, right? Wouldn't you say this looks a little bit better? I say this is a little bit better. Cool. And then what else? I guess this part for the header margin left, I could always adjust that. Or actually, header has the padding. Yeah, this is good. This is good. Yeah, this is fine. I don't want to be too OCD about it. It's slightly bigger, but I could always adjust the H1's margin left to be slightly bigger. So this H1, the H1 that I'm referring to is this part right here where it says JavaScript Basics. And let me show you guys a trick that we kind of haven't gone over as a demo, but it is covered in the Learning Platform. Let me scroll down here. So this H1 is, what's the parent element for this H1?
Header.
Yep, header, right? So if I want to target the H1 that's inside of the header div, I could say header H1. And this will target the H1 or any H1 that's inside of the header div. So since we only have one, we don't have to be too specific about the H1. We could just say from the header on the H1, I could do margin left. Let's do like 5 pixels. Okay. So for this H1 margin left, I increased it a little bit. So now it looks a little bit more like what we wanted to do. Okay. So was this thing new for some of you guys, being able to do this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I wanted to cover that because you can target elements. So because there's other ways to do it. Like I could have given this H1 an ID saying like blah, and then I could have said blah, right? But if I want to avoid giving too many things IDs because it's gonna look messy, I can leave out the ID and just target. It says in the div with the ID header, for any H1s, give it a margin left of 5 pixels. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions so far? I'm gonna pause for a little second here, just to give you guys time to kind of digest and ask any questions if you have it. I really don't want to move too fast. And also, due to this kind of unforeseen circumstance of this online class, we are thinking about, based on the progress by tomorrow evening, we might extend the exam to be after the weekend. Okay, so we'll do a poll tomorrow. I can do a poll from there, and then we'll see where everyone's at, how everyone feels comfortable. And if you want to just go ahead and take the exam anyways, you can. Like, I'm not, if shit, I mean, if you're ready tomorrow, like, I can give you the exam tomorrow. Like, or if you're ready today, I can give it to you today. It's no problem. I don't want to stop you from going ahead. But as a class, like, we can also hold the exam on Monday, okay? So we'll have, you'll have Friday and the weekend to prepare. So don't feel like you're behind. We're fine. We also have that third week, which is a dead week, where you just have free time for yourself to just go over all this stuff.
Cool.
So, Rob, my question is about this inspect element. Inspect.
Inspect
So
element, yeah.
Yeah, when I clicked on the inspect, mine is the lemon shows different. I don't know how to find the colors. You easily find things, right?
Ah, okay. So let me close this out and let me go back. Like, so usually you want to do inspect element, like, you know. So let's say I right click, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me get rid of this page right here. Okay. So to find the color, I right click, I click inspect, and you know, I don't see any colors, right?
Right.
So let me use, so this is an image right now. So I don't really want to, this is not like, this HTML, this is not an actual like CSS styled image right here. This, I mean, this is not a CSS styled color right here with red. This is the image that has red in it, right? So I want to look for some HTML elements here that has some color. Like right here, there's some color, and this is the HTML div, right? So I can select, I can use the selector and select something that has a color on it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I do that, then I should see somewhere around here some color. And then I click on the color picker, and then I can, you see this is kind of blue. When I click it, it's like black.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's blue again.
Yeah.
So when it's blue, the color picker is toggled on, and then now I can, you know, select, I can click wherever I want and get the color. So if I want to get the color of this red, I can click it, and then this changes, and then I got the color.
I see. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, actually, I have a question. I just post on uh, the MetaMost.
Uh-huh.
There is a style over here about the listing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to like make the bullet point bigger. So how can I do it?
You want to make the bullet points bigger?
Yeah.
There's a way to do it. I'd have to Google search it for now.
Yeah. Actually, I already copied the code on the W3 school. You can check
Okay.
on the MetaMost.
Okay. Well, for this assignment, we can keep the bullets this font, but I think your assignment is you personalize it a little bit. So
Yeah, I want to make it like make a bullet point bigger, like changing the font or something. Can I do it?
yeah, it's possible. It's definitely possible to do that.
Yeah, but I copy on W3 is like that, and I try to fix it, but it doesn't change at all.
Okay, this is what I'm going to search on Google.
Okay.
So if you wrap your LI content in a span or other tag, you may change the font size of the LI. So whichever bullets I want to make a little bit bigger, I can put it inside of a span. Like, for example,
put it in Spain.
yeah. So I mean, that's what this says, right? I've never made bullets bigger before, but this like now this is something new for me, making a bullet bigger. So let's try it out. I'm gonna just do a quick example, and I'm gonna put the bullets back to normal size again, because we want our bullets to be. Oh look, LI. Oh, you could do this font size. OMG huge. What? I don't think that's an actual font size. Okay. What is this? Thus you can blow up the font size for LI. I believe it is tied to the font size. Okay, so I don't have to actually type in OMG huge, right? I can give it an actual pixel amount. So I could do LI font size. So I could do it directly in the HTML. Like for, let's say I want this bullet right here where it says variable declaration. Font. No, I don't think that's the right way. But I remember inline styling when we went over inline styling where you could do style equals to okay, let's see if that works. Okay, so this one, this bullet should be a little bit bigger. All right, cool. But now it makes this whole thing bigger.
Whenever I saw font size and like things I was reading, for some reason it always had like a period. It would be like 14 period and then like 1 or something or a word and then slash and then the font type. That's what I kept seeing a lot.
There's a way to do it. I'll answer those specific questions later individually. Let's cover this real quick, but there's definitely a way. I'll basically just be Googling around, trying different things out. Okay?
Cool.
All right, let me put this back to normal.
You could check out at the Meta post over here. I just like post on a comment. I already put the code. I found it, but I don't know how to customize.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
It's work on the W3 School, but if I put on my HTML, it doesn't work.
Okay, that's fine. I'll work with you individually for that specific individual question.
All right,
But
thank you.
as a group, let's do something so we can move forward as a group real quick and get this part handled. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and I'll talk to you after this demo. Okay, cool. Because I also don't want this video to just be based off of one person's question for one specific issue that just one person has for their unique styling. Okay, because right now, you know, our bullets, it can stay this size because in our example, all these bullets are the general size, right? Cool. So let's go back to here. Okay. So where was I at again? I was at before that bullet size part. Where were we just at? What were we just doing? Oh yeah, header H1, this part, right? Margin left, we just did that part. Okay, cool. So we basically just adjusted this part right here. Okay, cool. Now, next part is, so it looks like the top portion of it looks good to go. Now let's start adjusting this nav bar, okay? It has a border radius, right? It has a rounded border radius. So let's give it a border radius for the nav. Display width. And I think the width, I'd probably also want the width to be smaller, but we're gonna adjust that too. So border radius, let's do 10 pixels. Let's see what that does. Okay, that looks a little bit better. But now I also want all this content to be slightly to the right. Like, so if I want this content inside of this div to respect the space on the border of the div, it's
Padding?
it's the padding, exactly, perfect. Because it's the space inside of the div, right? So I want the
Yeah.
padding of this nav div to have, I want it to have some padding. Okay, excellent. Whoever said that, kudos, that's good. Padding, and let's think about what we want the padding to be. It looks like there's a little bit more padding here and than there is here. So I would say probably, if I do a little bit more padding here, so the padding isn't going to be equal on all sides. I would say a little bit more padding on the left than the top. So let's do something like padding 10 pixels. So this is for the top. The first one is, if I do 4 things, it goes clockwise. So top, and this second one is going to be right. Let's give it like 0 pixels, because on the right, let's see what 0 pixels will do. 0 pixels, and then the bottom, let's give it like 10 pixels. Or right here. Yeah, so I want some padding on the bottom. I want a lot more padding on the left, a little bit of padding on the top, and I don't need as much padding in the left on the right hand side because it's not gonna fit. I mean, it's not gonna get that. It's not gonna need that much space. So 0, 10, 10, and let's do like 20 pixels. Let's just see what that looks like. I'm just playing around with it. Okay, that looks a little bit better.
Can you
this-
do negative padding so you can reduce the right side a little bit? Because
I could
right now the
reduce the-
right
I could
side
reduce the
padding is
width.
0.
I could reduce the width of this div.
Oh, okay.
So I could reduce the width of this div, this nav div. Let's make the width slightly smaller. Let's see what's a good width to have. By inspecting element, I'm gonna right click inspect. And then you see my HTML here, and I'm gonna click the div that I want to, kind of adjust. And then I can go here, let's say width, I can adjust the width. And that kind of does that same type of feature, right? If I adjust the width a little bit.
Oh, we need to adjust the margin.
The margin would be the outside of the border.
Yeah,
I would have to
between the
adjust that
black and
too.
the blue.
I would have
Yeah.
to adjust, yeah, the margin would take care of this part right here where my mouse is. But I'm trying to, you see
Yeah.
where my mouse is this space? I'm trying to make this space a little bit less.
Got it.
Got it? So this is good. I think I would say 158, 160. Let's give it a little bit more because eventually this part needs to be indented, right? So I need that space here. So let's think about like this much space I need with where it says JavaScript overview. I would need this much space for JavaScript overview. So that would mean I would want a little bit more width. Let's do 170. Let's just do 170. 170 looks good. Okay. Let's do 170. Okay. Okay, cool. Personally, I really don't like front-end development unless I'm using React. But yeah, this is just manual HTML, CSS. This is the fundamentals. It's a little bit grueling, but you're going to be doing more automated things later on, okay? Right now, we're just learning some basics. So we have to play around with this stuff kind of manually. So, okay, that looks good for now. Okay, that looks good for now. And let's say I want these bullets. You see how these bullets are indented a little bit underneath this main bullet? These bullets are indented. So if I want these bullets to be a little bit more indented, I can target those bullets, okay? So what I can do is I can say for all the ULs, for the unordered lists LI, I can give it some margin left because if I give these a margin left, it'll all go to the left. So I want this to have a margin left, and I want this to have a margin left as well. So I can say UL, LI. So anytime there's a unordered list with a bullet, I can target it to have. You guys understand why I'm doing margin left? Because for these bullets, I want the space outside of these bullets. I want some space outside of these bullets. So space outside is margin, space inside is padding, right? So I'm gonna do space outside, and outside to the left is where I want some space. Do you guys understand that part?
Yeah.
Cool. Margin left, and let's say let's just give it 10 pixels for now. Let's guesstimate.
So, quick question. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So, if you wanted to have like less, I guess, room for your bullet points, like you wanted your bullet points as close to the edge as possible, you do like padding right, and then if you want to give them more room, you go margin left. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Oh, like if I wanted these bullet points to have space to like between the bullet and the word.
No, I mean like so like say JavaScript overview, that bullet point, you wanted like the edge of this box to be as close to that as possible. You say like padding right to move it closer to that bullet point.
Oh, so I want the edge of this box to be closer to this JavaScript overview part.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I could adjust the width of this. I could adjust the width of this box to do that.
Right. Okay.
So if I make the width smaller, for example,
Mhm.
like right here, I can make the width smaller, like this. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that's the width. Okay.
Mhm.
Never mind. All right.
Cool.
Okay. Thank
And padding, padding right would be, this is top, and this is right. If I increase this to, let's see what happens if I increase the padding right. The padding right does this. So the padding
Okay.
is this space right here. If I increase the padding, it increases this.
Okay.
Does that make
It
sense?
looks pretty similar though to the naked eye.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like you wouldn't be able to tell if you didn't.
Yeah, there's many ways to go about it.
Just preference, I guess.
So now I want this space to be honored right here. This is the
And that's
space
margin.
outside of this blue div. What would this space be called? Margin or padding?
Margin.
Margin. And margin to, so for this, in reference to this div that I'm circling around, would it be margin left or right?
Margin right.
Awesome. Or I could do margin left of this black box, right?
All right.
So it's
Yeah.
preference on that in that scenario too. So let's since we're already working with navigation, let's do margin. Let's do margin right, okay? Let's do margin right of the nav. Margin right, 15 pixels. Let's just see what 15 pixels looks like if it gives us what we want. Okay, I'm getting good at like understanding my pixels. So I guess eventually you do this enough, you can eye out your pixels, which is kind of weird. You end up
Yeah.
becoming like some robot that can measure pixels with your eye. But
I'm
hey,
starting to see divs everywhere now when I'm like scrolling through the internet. I'm like, oh, that's a div. That's a div.
oh yeah, that's the neat thing. Like as you're learning this, you're gonna start seeing all the stuff you learned everywhere you go. Like when you like, especially after you do like full stack development, you're like, oh, okay, this is getting sent to the database, and it's pulling from the database here, and it's updating the database when I edit my comment. Oh, and it's this form right here with the submit button. Like you start to
Yeah.
like see the world differently as you learn more.
Yeah.
And I think that applies to
Also-
any walk of life. Like when you start learning
Right.
more about something, you see the world differently.
That's so
Really cool.
true.
But
If
hey,
I was to share something with the class in case anyone was having trouble understanding like padding, I don't know if anyone does. I kind of like if you look at the nav bar, the light, like if you look at the words, you picture that being the brain, and then like that light blue color is the padding, and you want to protect your brain from it. It's like a little trick I learned to help if anyone's having trouble with it.
nice, that's great. Yeah, like padding on a helmet
Exactly.
or something. Yeah.
And the words are your brain, and you want to protect your brain. So you want to protect the words. So increase padding, make
Yep.
it bigger.
There we go. Yep. I love how you're using these analogies these metaphors to learn. That's a great tool for learning, and that's good.
Thanks.
I see you be doing that a lot too, so that's good. Cool. I do that a lot too. That's a good way of learning. Metaphors are
helps
great.
so much.
Yeah, especially like technical stuff. You use metaphors to simplify them, and then you really that's intelligence right there. That's human intelligence. Cool. So we got this part. This part looks good. The red box looks good. This blue box looks good. Let's fix this black box. It also needs a border that's rounded, right? So let's get that. So that black box is this main div right here. So border radius 10 pixels. Okay. Okay. Now the border is rounded. Yeah, that looks about right. That looks about right. It doesn't have to be exact, by the way. Like barely anyone can even tell. Now border radius. Now let's look at this example here. Does it look like this has the helmet coverage here? the padding.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yep, a little bit of padding here, right? You see the space is honored right here. This space is honored here. This space is honored here. This space is honored here. In ours, that space is not honored on the bottom. It's not honored here. It's not honored at the top. It's not honored at the left. It's definitely not honored at the left, right? So let's make some
Yeah.
padding here for this box. And let's do this. Let's do padding. Padding. Let's just put it at like 5 pixels for now, and then let's adjust it by using the eye test right here. Okay, we'll refresh it. Okay, there's some padding here, and now let's let me click on that div for main, and then right here for padding. Now let's just start. I'm gonna press the up arrow to kind of adjust it.
Nice.
This looks perfect. This looks good. This looks good right here. And let's look at here. But it looks like this one is aligned with this one, right? But the padding looks good for what I have.
Mhm.
The padding looks good, but I want this edge to be aligned right here. Well, that's just because I can always set the width of this black box to be slightly bigger. Okay? So let me set the width of main to be slightly bigger. Okay, maybe padding, I'm gonna lower it a little bit. Let me make the width a little bit bigger. I want the width to be big enough so that
Why does it do that when you make it a little too big? It like moves it completely.
because it's too big to fit in next to this blue box.
And then it just collapses it.
It collapses it, exactly. Okay, that's good enough for now. We'll fix that small detail later. Okay, it's a slight small detail. We'll get to this minute details at the end. But like we want to make it, you know, we want to get this overall closer to that. We want to make it 80% similar first, and then work on that 20% at the end. Okay. Because you know we don't want to spend like an hour trying to make it a pixel perfect when we can just for one part. Okay, cool. So now we have this. Okay, cool. Margin right, padding, margin right. Okay. Okay, cool. So we have the main here. So yeah, let me adjust. What do we set it up to? Because I haven't adjusted it yet. Where's my HTML div? Main content. Where did everything just go? Oh, yeah, this is the Coding Dojo one. Okay. I'm tripping. Okay. Here we go. Main. Padding and width was like 740. Okay. Width was like 740. Padding was like 10. Okay. So width was 740 and padding was 10. 40 padding was 10. Okay, cool. Now let's go to the next part right here. What else do we need to fix? Well, these ones need to be indented a little bit, right? So let's get that indented. Actually, before we get to this minute part, let's fix this part right here. This looks like we could do margin bottom of this black box to have some space. Okay. Let's get that part. Let's get some spacing here. margin bottom. So let's say like 15 pixels. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay. And then now let's adjust this advertisement thing to have, it looks like there's some padding, right? There's some padding inside of this box. And there's also a border radius on this advertisement div. So let's give it some radius and some padding. For the advertisement div, we got our width, we got our height, we got our background color, and some padding. And for padding, it's kind of, let's look at what the padding should look like. It's like it's a little bit more at the top and bottom, and it's a little bit less at the left. Okay, and we can have 0 padding in the right here because it's not going to even reach this far anyways. So we can do for the top and bottom, we would have the same padding, and then for the left, we'd have a little bit less. Let's see what that looks like. Let's just do padding for the top. Let's do 15 pixels, 0 pixels. And then let's do 15 pixels and then 10 pixels. Okay, so for the top, it's going to be 15. For the right, it's going to be 0. For the bottom, it's also going to be 15. And for the left, it's going to be a little bit less. Let's see if that. Okay, that's a little bit too much. It actually makes this box bigger. So I want the padding on the bottom. I don't want the padding. I guess I don't want padding on the bottom because it makes it way too big. So for the padding on the bottom, let's make it back to 0. Okay, that looks a little bit better. That was a little bit better. And I guess I want the height of this to be a little bit, this height of this box to be a little bit smaller. So let me see what's a good height for this box. For the advertisement div, the height, if I make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, that looks about right. That looks about right. And for everyone, everyone's gonna have their own taste on what they think is about right. So it's really up to you. But when I grade these, I'm not gonna grade it to for it to be picture perfect, right? It's gonna just have to be very similar to it. So, okay, cool. Yeah, I guess I'll use a height of 36. Let's do 40. Let's do 40. That's a nice number here. 40. Let's do 40. Height. Let's do 40. Okay. For the advertisement, for the ad, I have 40. And I need a border radius. Border radius. Let's do 10 pixels. Okay. And you see, I kind of want this to be aligned with this one. So if I don't, let's see if I don't give this a width, and if I don't give this a width, maybe they'll be aligned. And then I think we'd be done. So if I get rid of the width for this, it'll extend its width to be big enough to fit the content and to fit inside with this padding. Same with here. So let's see what happens if I get rid of the width. I'll just comment it out for now. Okay. And then let's do the width of this one, this black box. What happens if I get rid of this width? Notice how I'm just trying things out. I'm asking myself, what happens if I do this? Nope, nope, that didn't, I do need the width for name. Okay, this is close enough. Now we want to fix these bullets to have a little bit more padding. So if I inspect, let's see what I can do to this UL. if I want ULs to have some padding, I can say UL, not padding, I would want margin left here, margin left. Let's do 5 pixels, see what that does. Okay. Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, that looks good. And I think there's some space here underneath this paragraph tag. So I can target this paragraph tag to have some space underneath it. So where's this paragraph tag located, right? This paragraph tag is right here inside the main div, right? There's a paragraph tag. So inside the div called main, there's a paragraph tag. And I can give it some margin bottom. So if I give this paragraph tag, hold on. If I give this paragraph tag right here, if I give this paragraph tag a margin bottom, you see the space underneath it, I can give it some space to be respected. So let's do that. So this paragraph tag. Now, how am I going to target this paragraph tag? It's another one of those things. It's inside of the div with the ID main. It's a paragraph tag with the, and this, since it's the only paragraph tag underneath this main div, I can just say hashtag main p margin bottom, and let's say like 5 pixels. Okay. I want a little bit more space. Yeah, I want a little bit more space. So paragraph tag, margin bottom. Okay. I guess let's do 8. I don't like 9. Okay. Let's do 8. Yeah. Okay, cool. And like this would be, I think this is good enough. This is good
Looks
enough. Any
good.
questions?
No?
It's all recorded. Is it okay if I stop the recording so the video is not too crazy long?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Or if you have some question that you want in the video, I could keep recording and answer the question. Let me know. Okay, stop the recording.